these are some great pieces that you brought with you. Do you paint? Tell me a little bit about your painting routine, how you fit that into your schedule, and what it's like when you paint.
So, ever since I was in grade school, I've always enjoyed drawing. Um, and I used to joke, or I guess it's the truth. I did tell my dad when I was in high school that I wanted to be an artist. And he then proceeded to tell me, if that's what you're going to do, I'm not going to pay for school. So obviously, I did not become a professional artist.
He wasn't going to pay for art school?
No. He said I would be able to make a living, which is probably true. But then throughout college, I've always taken art classes. And then I didn't have time in medical school or residency. But then once I started my fellowship, when I was in Houston, I would take classes in the evening at the Houston School of Fine Arts. And then when I had my job in Cincinnati, I took art classes at the Fine Arts Academy there. And so I've always pursued it. And for a while, I thought maybe I'll get my master's degree, but I never did. I'm about halfway through. But
Still time.
yeah, there is still time. So now, over the past 5 years, I've made a concerted effort to go back to my art and painting and drawing. And so in Oklahoma City, we have, or in Edmond, there's a location where it's Oklahoma Academy of Classical Art. And they have open studios on the weekends with a live nude model. And I've always been attracted to painting the human form. And maybe that's because I'm a surgeon, but that's what I find the most fun to paint, not necessarily still lifes, but I like doing portraits. I like doing figures. I like the human body.
You have a unique style. Your color, I like the way you explore color. What has made you kind of choose this style?
It's just it's the style that's come naturally to me. I've always loved color and I've loved more of an expressionistic view. I mean, even when I was in high school, people always would mention Matisse when they would talk to me about my art. Not to say I'm like that, but they would say it's definitely an expressionistic style.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I think that these are great. I love the forms and the shapes. How many pieces do you think you have completed?
I don't know, but I can tell you, I don't know.
Well, I know. Yeah.
My room in my house, that's my studio, is full of canvases and pieces. And my husband is like, now you've got to do something with these because we can't hang all of them here.
And that's even with painting over some pieces that you didn't really like.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes there's a pose that wasn't super flattering. What's the biggest challenge that you find when you're doing these paintings?
The biggest challenge.
challenge.
So I think one of the things to remember is painting from a live model is very different than painting from a photograph because you've got a three-dimensional person in front of you and you're translating something from three dimensionals to two dimension. The other thing is that the human being or the human body is going to be different and it's going to be flawed. And people are going to move. So like, for example, so I'm going to say that in two ways. One is I had a patient who came in and saw my art and said, all of the breasts in these paintings are uneven. And I wanted to say, but that's the way the model was. I mean, all of us have degrees of asymmetry.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just translating what I see in front of me to the art form. So we're all imperfect. So art's not supposed to be perfect. The other thing is the models, they can't pose for 3 hours for you to draw. They have to take breaks because it's really hard to stay in the same position for a long time. So, most of the poses are only 20 to 25 minutes, and then they have to get back into position. And so obviously when they get back after taking a 5-minute break, there may be a very subtle change to their pose.
And even with the most experienced live model, because we know, we won't mention her name, but we know one who's been doing it, 10 years?
She's been doing it for a really long
multiple times a week, probably 6 days a week or 6 times a week. And she's still kind of, there's little
very subtle changes. And Xana breathe. Right.
I could see that as being a challenge. And then how do you get that completed in just that 3-hour time frame?
I try my best. Otherwise, I do have to rely on photographs. Some models will allow you to take a photograph so that you can take that photograph home with you and finish your piece of art. Other models don't allow you to take photographs because that's their prerogative, because it's their body. So it just depends. And if not, then I have to finish it in those 3 hours or imagine it, I guess.
And you're not gonna, like, fix it, right? You paint what you see. You could give them all a breast lift if you wanted to, but you paint what you see.
I paint what I see.
Why don't you, help them out and perfect
Because
some
art
things?
is interesting and imperfection is interesting, I think. I mean, being perfect is not, nobody's perfect. Even people who've had plastic surgery are not perfect. And perfection is not interesting to see. And there have been studies where we have done, where people have split the face in half and superimposed it. And invariably, when you superimpose identical sides, it's not perceived to be as attractive as when you leave it the way your face was naturally.
Right, just that natural
Mhm.
asymmetry. What about selling?
Selling my art,
Yeah.
it's probably going to be my next phase. Maybe, when I was a surgeon, eventually when I retire, I'll sell my art. But yes, I would like to sell my art because I have to get rid of some of it from my studio.
And somebody could have their very own original, because every single one of these is an original piece. It's never gonna have a duplicate, right? So a one-of-a-kind Dr. Bajaj painting in their home. Wow.
And with bright, happy colors.
I think that there needs to be, coming soon, a web page dedicated to your art, so someone could just, click, throw it in the cart, easy. But if they want to come see it in real life,
We have them all hanging in the office too, because I can't have them all at the house. So now they're taking over the office.
there too. Well, when you paint every week, that collection will grow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for telling us about that. I enjoyed that.